Hey guys, and welcome to the Backlog, episode 3. So we've got our regular guests this week, or our regular hosts, I should say. We've got Brett to my left.
Hello.
Roslyn to my right.
Oh, hey.
Adrian across the ocean.
Hello.
And two new exciting people joining us. We've got Alissa and Dan. Say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hi there.
Awesome. So episode 3, we have wrapped up Dune. Alissa and Dan didn't join us for that, but they are joining us for our next big game, which is Life is Strange. And Alissa, if you could do us the honors, you picked this game.
I did.
You did. So can you tell us a little bit about why you picked it?
Well, my favorite genre of game is kind of the etc. genre, where it's lots of lifestyle type games such as The Sims, Animal Crossing, Story of Seasons, that kind of stuff.
Nice.
And someone I follow a bunch of, I'm super nerd, so I follow a bunch of Animal Crossing people on Instagram. And one person mentioned how their favorite games in the whole world, in all history, are Animal Crossing and Life is Strange. So that really, that caught my eye. And then I think I was talking with Roslyn, and we were just talking about how neither of us have played this game before, but we've always been wanting to play it. And I thought this was a good chance to give it a try.
Fantastic. I think that's great. So who was the developer of this one? Do you know who the producer or the developer was?
Yeah, it's a developer. The developer is Dontnod Entertainment. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, I hope.
Awesome.
They're in Paris, France, but the distributor was Square Enix, and they distributed it digitally or worldwide over the course of, I guess, from January to October in 2015.
Oh man, you nailed it. You did your homework. So it's an episodic game we're playing, and you decided that we're going to play the first 3 chapters through completion, and then we're going to record this podcast, right?
Yep.
Awesome. So we're going to sort of start at the beginning of the game, and we're going to chat a little bit of our experiences. We've all played through to the end of chapter 3, right? Which I know everyone is itching to talk about the end of the game.
The middle of the game.
The middle of the game. Yeah, that's right. The end of our experience, but the middle of the game. Yeah.
For now.
Yes.
But we're going to restrain ourselves a little. So, Dan, you're an artist.
Yep.
And the first thing that struck me with this game was sort of its visual style. When we started episode 1, it launches you right into that very interesting scene with the tornado on the side of the lighthouse. What did you think?
During the opening scene, everything was so dark that it's so hard to really tell very much of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the scene was it was pretty epic looking for something, just a little dream sequence. What caught me the most was right after that, the huge contrast when you're brought back into the real life setting with the classroom around you and the lighting and everything. And strangely enough, it actually reminded me a lot of some sort of a Japanese anime in terms of the lighting style and whatnot. And even the individual characters, they had a sort of just the hairstyles and the facial look to them. They just had a sort of almost anime inspired look to them, even though it was clearly a Western style.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit, like the chunky sort of hair.
Yeah.
The very delicate features in all the characters. I liked what immediately I gravitated to was almost the oil palette style of texturing they did on the models. At first it wasn't totally apparent, but I really liked that. So you said it, we start off in a dream sequence like so many video games. There's this ominous presence, and we're really not given a lot of info in episode 1, are we?
Yeah, not a whole lot. It was an introduction to basically the rest of the game in terms of setting the mood and setting the pacing and everything. One thing I noticed is that, for example, the puzzles were absolutely super easy to solve, and that sort of tells you that the game isn't really a puzzle game. It's just sort of there to put in a little bit of a gameplay mechanic. And the rest of it, you notice that the scenery and everything was set up in such a way that it feels very, very relaxed and very individualistic towards our main character, Max.
Yeah, and Max is our main character. She's a 14-year-old girl. You've sort of left home.
Oh no, she's not 14. She just acts like she's 14. They're actually in college. Yeah, they're all 18.
What?
What?
Yeah,
No,
I know,
no,
right?
no.
This is grade 12.
No way. This is grade 12.
No, they're actually in some sort of an
like a college.
academy. Yeah, it's a college of some sort.
Oh, see, I had just assumed it was like a technical high school.
Yeah, so did I.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But yeah, they're definitely supposed to be 18 and above. Everyone,
Wow.
they're in a college setting, but they act like they're 12 or something like that. It's
They do. It's extremely childish. Or not childish. That's not fair. But well, this makes a little more sense because there is some more adult themes later on in the game, and I'm not going to talk about that now. But I was going to say, like, what sort of money problems does a 14-year-old have, and what sort of, so that definitely makes a little more sense. And that I'll take it from a different perspective then, since that's the case. Now, there was a couple decisions that you had to make early on, Daniel. One of them is sort of the first sort of ethical confrontation, and that's with the bully Nathan when he pulls a gun on another student in the bathroom.
right.
What did you do in that case?
I thought it was an absolute no-brainer to just simply, stop him from shooting. What's her name, Chloe or whatever.
Yeah, Chloe.
It seemed like there was no real choice around it. I think that if you had actually let it played out, the game just simply pauses and forces you to rewind.
Well, let's interject here. Did anyone not help during the gunfight? Out of the six of us, someone must be heartless enough. Oh, and I see Brett putting his hand up.
Well, I restarted the game really to see if that was an option, to see if you could let it play out, and if Nathan ends up killing that girl, which at the time you have no idea who she is, right?
Right.
Kind of my thinking was sort of like, especially after talking with some other characters or whatever, right, later on, subsequently, it's like, well, man, this loser never really got what he deserved or whatever, right? But if he actually murders somebody, then maybe some, justice will be served, sort of thing.
Yeah. So what happened? What was the conclusion then?
Well, like I said, you have no choice. You have to,
like Daniel said, it forces you.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of interesting because at the end of each episode, it tells you how many people made the same choice as you or made a different choice as you. And I like that feature. But it sort of indicated that not reporting Nathan, I guess not telling on him is what they're talking about at the end, right?
To the principal.
Yeah, to the
To the
principal.
principal.
Yeah.
So did you rat him out to the principal, Daniel?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, me too. Did anyone not rat him out to the principal? No? Silence? Good. Man, we sound like a bunch of fun people. Don't jaywalk in front of us. Make sure you're wearing your seatbelt. Okay, well, that's pretty good. So we sort of had the same experience starting off, Daniel, except for the age thing.
Don't worry, Justin. I was right there with you. I was like, "What is wrong with these kids?"
Totally, right?
I was like, this is weird.
It felt very Wonder Years, with like the whole like inner monologue and stuff, and like all these kids having their own little world of issues and stuff and nervous breakdowns. Yeah,
totally. Now, okay, so this is me and you, Daniel. We have an opportunity to discuss some things that aren't really going to get talked about again. We get to talk about some of the game mechanics. The rewind function, I thought, and I still feel, even after getting to the end of chapter 3, I feel like it's a little ham-fisted. They kind of shove it down your throat and stretch out the game with it maybe a little more than they needed to, especially in chapter 1 and chapter 2, or episode 1 and episode 2. How did you feel? Did you enjoy it, or did you have some issues with it as well?
What do you mean by ham-fisted and shoved down your throat?
It's just so constant, and they force you to do it. Like you said, the film goes grainy. The game just doesn't let you go forward unless you make some of the decisions it wants you to make. So it makes me wonder, why even put me in that situation? Why not just let it be more story driven and reduce?
Oh yeah, definitely. There were some sequences where it felt like, whatever choice you made, it didn't seem like it would have much of an impact on the rest of the story, especially in the first chapter. But in terms of the rewind function itself, I didn't find that it bothered me too much, because there weren't a whole lot of sequences that I found that it forced you. There was only a few puzzle sequences that I recall that where if you just simply didn't do it, then it would stop. Like there were some sequences where you could actually get yourself killed. There was a couple sequences where, like, I think it was the paint puzzle or whatever. If you screwed up, then you can't go any further and just forces you to stop. the rewind function itself, I found it more useful as almost like a reload your save data sort of mechanic.
Interesting.
So there were often times when I would talk to an individual and I would wonder how it would have played out if I chose something else. And sometimes I found that by doing that, it was actually part of the mechanic. Like you were supposed to do that, so it could bring up more options for you. So yeah, I found that like even though it does sort of just throw you into it, it was something that was definitely something I was glad to have.
Right. No, I think it was clever, and I agree with a lot of your points. For me, I think it was maybe just a little too frequent, but I'm notorious. I hate replaying content, so this for me is in a lot of ways like torture. The last thing I want to do is listen to the janitor go on, as I pursue 3 different options,
Oh, I loved that. I love just hearing everybody say whatever, everything, and see how everyone would react to like some of the stupid things I do to them or say to them.
It really is a god power, isn't it? Like you
Yeah.
But the question is, then why not just watch the whole gameplay through? I guess your rewind can only go certain distances, right? So,
Yeah. Actually, I found that very ironic. You have this power to rewind, and yet you can only go back so far. So certain choices that sort of have an effect later on in later chapters, you can't go back on that.
It's almost a tease, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, which does put you in some pretty interesting positions later in the game. So as we go into episode 2, I guess what would you say is the climactic point in episode 1, Daniel? Would it be when you sort of took the blame for Chloe after you're reintroduced and you find herself in your bedroom and she's sort of turned into this troublesome child, and her stepfather comes in who, she hates, and she makes that pretty clear, and then you're forced to decide whether or not to rat her out and save your own ass or take the blame yourself. Now, I took the blame because I figured, why not? Who's this stepdad? I don't know who he is. And, but what did you do? Did you take the blame, or did you put it all on Chloe?
Well, prior to that, you get a chance to explore the house, and you stumble upon her dad's like sort of surveillance stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, I knew that this guy was trouble. I chose to stay hidden.
Oh, you stayed.
I didn't come out.
You didn't even come out.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't even realize that was an option at first.
Okay, well, where did you hide? Because I looked everywhere.
Oh, I hid in the closet.
I hid in the closet too.
I opened the closet and a bunch of stuff fell on me.
Yeah,
That's why you rewind time.
You put the lamp out and then
Yes, exactly.
it's full.
Oh. I was like running around. I was like, it's too late for me. And then he just saw
No,
me
you have
there.
god powers. It's never too late.
Unless it's 15 minutes. Or it's too late.
And that situation was kind of cool too, because a lot of the other decisions, they were just like kind of binary, just one or the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this situation, you had a couple of choices. I think you had 4. Actually.
4, you're right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
which was quite neat. So
It's interesting. It does play out in future chapters though, because like throughout like the rest of the the second chapter, I think, like Chloe just absolutely keeps guilt tripping you on that stupid thing. It's like, oh, okay, come on, let it go.
It does get brought up quite a bit for me too. Except it's the security guard father, stepdad, who's constantly hounding me about it. So.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, did you take the blame?
Oh, I took the
Yeah.
blame. Yeah, I figured, what's the harm,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know this guy from Sam.
He's like, you're a dirty drug dealer.
Yeah, now you're a bad apple.
Exactly. So, okay, so we go into episode 2 now. Alissa and Brett, I know you guys both enjoyed this chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about your experience with it?
Well, Brett, you go first.
All right. I really enjoyed chapter 2 because I felt that chapter 1, or episode 1, I should say, was it felt like the stakes weren't really that high in it. Yes, a girl ends up dying, but you have no idea who she is and everything, right? And it felt like a lot of it was sort of an introduction. This is how your powers work, sort of thing, right? But in episode 2, it actually focuses on a character that it's really about Kate. And all the bullying and everything that she's going through, right? And you can choose to sort of help her or not, right? And I thought that was really interesting, and that's kind of the point where it pulled me into the game, and I actually started, caring. At the end of episode 1, I was kind of like, meh, I could take it or leave it. But
really?
when I played episode 2, it was, yeah.
Yeah. I have the opposite. I was really interested in like Chloe and her family and all that, and like reuniting with my old friend and all that, and then going back to the dorm and seeing all these girlfriends that, you know, how we were talking about, they're kind of flat characters with their little issues, and I was kind of pulled out of it a bit, and like, who's this girl down the hall who's like locking out her friend or whatever like that, and it started becoming really apparent that Kate was having problems, and she was a major factor in this chapter. So I was like kind of aware of the choices I was making because I kind of saw where this was going.
Mm-hmm. And with me, yeah, it was kind of I don't know. I tried really hard, right? I felt bad for her because, you know, she was so isolated and everything, and you know, it kind of took a little personal. You know, I took a little bit personally, right? Like, what's these people's problem? Why are they all ganging up on this girl or whatever, right? So,
yeah.
You know, as we got through the chapter and everything, and as it developed more, and you, well, I guess you finally kind of get towards the end, right? Mm-hmm. You know, it was just it was heartbreaking actually, because I tried so hard to help this person, and you know, she jumps off the roof, right? And I couldn't save her. So and I chose to live with that, right? Like the game did something really clever too with it, as for you know, it took away her power. You couldn't use your power anymore, and it couldn't bail you out.
You weren't able to save her on the roof.
No. I made a few bad choices, I guess. I didn't snoop around enough and learn enough about her, or what.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, I guess there's a few things that if you fulfill those requirements, then later on on the roof you get more choices of what to say. And then so I kind of cheated and looked at a guide because I really, really wanted things to go smoothly. So I got to the rooftop, and then things didn't go so well, so I did like go back quite a ways and then start again because I really want to save her. I didn't want the rest of the game to go on without this one character. So
right. And for me, like it was another thing where it shows you all the choices that you made at the end of the chapter, and you know, it shows that it actually was possible to save her. And I decided just to continue on because that's what happened in my story, and that's my story, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, I got to give you credit there. I love the idea of like committing to your decisions in games. A lot of people that watch me play know that. So good for you.
Well, but I mean, the game's kind of built for that, right? Like, unlike say The Walking Dead or whatever, right, where it's another story-driven game that you've got a lot of choices to make. I haven't played them personally, but I believe, you know, you'd have to. They let you rewind and try out the other choice and see if that works for you. And you can kind of flip flop and go, okay, well, no, I'll take this other option, or no, I'll stick to the first one I picked or whatever, right? But in this circumstance at the end, by taking away your power, you kind of, well, you first had to learn a whole lot about this character, and then you had to make the right choices. Like I think I tried to quote a verse from the Bible, and I got the wrong one, and stuff like that.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, no, I was. It really got to me actually. I was so devastated that I couldn't save her, but
wow,
you know.
Yeah, it really pulls you. Like it seems like it's you're just watching some sort of drama or something on TV kind of thing. Like you do make the choices, but the cutscenes make it feel like you're kind of a passive observer, and then but with that, when you're a passive observer, you're just like, oh, that character will be back later. You know, it'll all turn out well in the end, kind of thing. And then when she actually does die, and you're like, oh my god, like she's not. That's it for her, and there's like 3 more chapters in this story, and like what happens from here. I thought that was really interesting.
Got too real. It got too real.
Yeah. It does kind of grab you, doesn't it?
Very heavy.
Yeah, like I said, the stakes were a lot higher. And afterwards, I made sure that Nathan took the blame for absolutely everything. I wasn't afraid of him or anything. I said, no, it's this guy's fault. Yeah, it's not the teacher's fault. It's not the security guy's fault. Well, kind of is, but. Because I was in a room with the principal and 3 other people, the art teacher, photography teacher, and the head of security guy, the crazy David, and and you know, I got 3 choices, and I chose to blame it all on Nathan because of all the stuff about him she getting drugged, taken to that Vortex Club thing, and then him promising to take her to the hospital, and she thought she was in the hospital, but they were taking some video of her and putting it on the internet. So screw that guy.
That's neat that then your decisions from then on are like really personal, and you're not just doing what you think is the right thing. You're doing something based on an emotional opinion of someone, and so that's really cool.
Yeah, and I think the games did a pretty good job. Like game-wise, I kind of hated it, but I liked how a lot of the choices were, there's no good or bad choice. There's just a different choice, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. Like, there's only one choice that I think was in episode 3 where I'd objectively say there's clearly a better choice, but we'll maybe get to that later.
Wow. So, Alissa, I just want to clarify, Kate lived in your...
She did live, yes.
She did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it'll be really neat to see how our games differ now that we know she's missing from one of the storylines.
I know. That's really cool.
Yeah, very neat.
I was really worried because when I was in the diner with Chloe and you had that choice to like either answer her call or don't answer her call, I was like, okay, I'm in it for Chloe. It's Chloe all the way. And so I didn't answer her call. And then I was like, ooh, this is going to bite me in the butt. I know it. And I was like, basically.
And it did.
Well, no, I basically like sat on the edge of my seat the whole time when like Kate's on the roof. And I was like, don't make a bad decision. Don't make a bad decision. And I'm like sitting there like agonizing over each decision I make to say to her. And I ended up saving her. And I like fought the urge to look it up because that's what I would normally do. But I was like, I feel like it's going to be more interesting if I don't. So I was like, I can do this. And I just like analyzed every little decision that I had to make and like what I said to her. And I was able to save her. And she was like, well, you didn't answer my call. And then I lied to her and I was like,
you lied.
Like, what do you say again?
I did.
You kind of have to lie.
Well, yeah. I was like, well, okay, in what scenario would this be like even remotely okay somehow? And I was like, okay, well, all of these other options make like just like would push her even further, except for lying. And normally I don't like lying, but I was like, I'm doing it because I don't want her to jump. But I didn't hear it, I swear.
Yeah, I lied to her too.
No.
So am I the only one who had her die and continued on?
I think so. I didn't even have her die, I don't think. No, I rewinded time once and it gave a better answer, I think. Adrian, unfortunately, we lost Adrian on this call, so we will not know what he did until next time we record. So maybe he's with you, Brett? I don't know. Was that the final climactic decision in episode 2? Was it the Kate moment, or was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're in the principal's office, like choosing who is to choose.
You know, I just want to jump in quickly on this whole blaming Nathan. I'm with you, Brett. I believe Nathan is 100% responsible.
Oh, yeah.
He drugged her. But the thing that I struggle with in this game, and it's happened a couple times now, is it doesn't give us concrete evidence. And even if it's like, I'm 95% sure, it's really hard for me to, be 100% confident that this kid deserves to be labeled a possible date rapist, a drug, like, even though I'm really confident he did it. Is anyone else having an issue with that, or are you just like, Nathan sucks and we hate him?
Well, for one, I'm in the same boat as you. There's no concrete evidence for me to point fingers at him, but the game seems to want you to point it at him.
Right, does it ever?
At the same time, it's also hinting at some weird stuff. Like after the end of each episode, you'll notice that it shows like a sort of a filing cabinet, and it shows individual characters' file names and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I'm led to believe that's either David's room or principal's office. So I'm wondering if that's actually like foreshadowing or insinuating something that we just simply don't know yet.
Well, and so I have a question for everybody because Kate died. She was another binder that was put in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you guys saw a binder that said Kate on it.
No, for me, I saw a photo of Kate.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was like there was Rachel's binder, and then I think Kate's was next to hers. Is that what you guys saw?
Yeah, something like that. Except, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they were both on there.
Right.
So I mean, and that's a good point. There could be something far more ominous. We don't know what the Vortex Club is. We don't know why we can rewind time. We don't know what this apocalypse, really ultimately is about. Maybe Nathan.
I have a hunch, though.
Oh, do you?
I have a hunch. Yeah, I'm thinking that how when you rewind time, it sort of goes in a spiral.
Mm-hmm.
I think that sort of foreshadows that it's something to do with that tornado.
Nice catch.
Oh, interesting.
And you know how it's called the Vortex Club?
Well, that's.
I think that also has something to do with the tornado.
Wow.
I think all of this, like the tornado itself, is sort of an accumulation of all the negative things and energy that has resulted from Max rewinding time and fixing things.
Well,
And I think it just kind of all comes to a head at that point. Because I noticed that after each individual major decision, something weird happens. Like it starts snowing, or like, there was an eclipse or whatever, all that sort of stuff. So I think it has something to do with that.
Well, and also bear in mind too, I can't remember if it was brought up in episode 2 or 3, but the Vortex Club is putting on a party, and they're calling that party the end of the world
party.
And it's on October 11th, which was the date on that paper that you saw on that dream sequence during the tornado.
Right.
Good catch, guys.
Yeah.
Man,
How does the butterfly effect work? Do you guys know? It's like if a butterfly flaps its wings, then that
it can create a storm somewhere else.
Oh.
Yeah, and they do reference chaos theory a lot in episode 3, right? Chloe starts talking about it.
Well, and it's also called Chaos Theory too, that episode.
Episode 3 is, right? So, okay, well, good segue. Since Adrian's not here, Roz, why don't you tell us about episode 3, the big episode?
Episode 3 was really creepy because you're basically sneaking around in the dark the whole time. And I get anxious a lot when I'm playing video games. And so, like, being in the dark, I was like, okay, it's fine. I can rewind. It's going to be okay. But, no, like, we were sneaking into the school, like, me and Chloe. So I guess Max and Chloe. And we're trying to get into the principal's office to find out what people know. And we had to blow open the principal's door because we couldn't find the key.
That seemed extreme to me. But I guess you can rewind time. Who cares, right?
Yeah. Who cares, exactly.
Warren is like my homeboy. I love him. He was like, I think it was the last episode 2. He was like, do you want to go see Planet of the Apes? And I was like, yes. Yes, I do.
You developing a little crush on Warren?
I love Warren. He stood up for you when Nathan was all like in your face. He took punches.
That's
for
true,
you.
yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He was like your little white knight. I was like, yeah, you're cool. I'll go to the movies with you.
Oh, that's, well,
But then he tells you, he's like, oh, here, this is how you make a bomb. Cool. He must really like me.
And he doesn't even know you can rewind time.
No, I would tell him. I would totally tell him. I would be like, guess what?
Watch this. You know what? I love that scene when you're talking with Chloe and you prove it to her by doing that, going into her pockets. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that was neat.
Oh,
and then predicting what happens after.
Yeah, that was very cool.
And then the cockroach on the jukebox.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it go crazy.
I found it because of that. I found it kind of surprising when like you unlock the door from the inside. Chloe's just like, "Oh hey,
right,
whatever."
It's like, oh, I'm used to it now.
Not that used to it. That's the first time you've like literally changed places. I agree with you, Dan.
Yeah,
you should have been like jaw on the floor.
Oh wait, what? How did you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's true. I found that in episode 3, they really didn't make the choices that you have to make very easy. Because there was just so many things that like you're sneaking around the pool, you're sneaking around the school, you're trying to like get past the security guards. It was like, I don't know.
So not easy.
It felt more action oriented, right?
Yeah. And I was like trying to hide from people, and I don't know. I'm sort of going like with the mindset though, like all Chloe. I'm like, I'm all in for Chloe and I'm all in for Warren. Done.
Oh man. How do Warren and Chloe feel about that? They're gonna have to fight for you.
Well, did you guys get that option in Chloe's room where she was like, kiss me?
Yes.
Yes.
I was like, yep.
Yes.
And yeah, I saw 100% everybody chose.
Oh, that's funny. So you all, we all kissed
man.
Chloe.
It's true. And then we go into Frank's trailer.
Yes.
And we snoop around for things. And I feel bad for Chloe. I kind of like, she just thinks that everyone is sort of against her in some crazy way. Like Rachel being like intimate, I guess, with Frank.
Yeah.
She builds her up to be this amazing person or whatever, right? And all of a sudden it just shatters her that he was hooking up with them.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. What if Rachel actually liked Frank?
Well, that's it. And you're young. So let me guess. I think
12.
we might have, not 12. We might have Adrian back. Adrian, are you with us?
Yeah, but I don't think I'm recording.
Oh, you're recording.
Well, you might not be recording locally, but go ahead. Give us your input anyways. If you're not recording, we will just pretend like we're talking to a ghost. That no one else can.
Fantastic. Yeah, I can't stand Chloe. She's
Oh, what? Really?
Oh yeah.
I have to agree with Adrian on that. Yeah.
No, I love Chloe. I'm totally.
I know that she's had some really bad beats, but she's like she should be older than that. You know what I mean? Like after what she's seen, after the time that she's spent having to go through all this stuff, like nobody loves me, nobody sticks around. Like no, I'm sorry. Like she seems too strong.
Yeah, like grow up.
Yeah, she seems too strong to have that particular type of character flaw.
That's interesting.
Well, she just sort of blames everybody else, and I think she's just too afraid to blame herself or to blame things that are going on. Like, I don't think she wants to take responsibility for any of it. I think she just thinks that it's easier to blame other people.
Yeah, she even admits it near the end of chapter 3 that she doesn't want to blame herself.
Yeah, she wants to blame her dad.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's I mean that's the big
For
thing.
dying. God.
She lost her dad, right? So that's the
So selfish of him.
Yeah, 100%. Having said all that, I have never been a teenage girl, and I think that.
Wait a minute.
However, there are two people on this show that have. I don't know. Does Chloe ring true? Or does, for that matter, does Max ring true? Is this close to your experiences of being a teenage girl?
Well, I used to be able to rewind time, so I totally get it.
Whoa.
No, I'm kidding.
Yet you ended up here.
This was my best timeline, Justin.
Darkest timeline.
Yeah.
No, I remember when I was a teenager, I was like super angsty. Even when I was like 18, 19, even probably getting close to 20 too. I'm pretty sure I was like, kind of against the world, and I felt like everyone was against me.
Yeah, I definitely remember not taking responsibility for lots of things.
Totally. Yeah.
So is Chloe's behavior then understandable from your point of view? Like,
I mean, I get now that it's like, well,
but you also did think she was 14, so.
Well, yeah, I thought everybody in this thing was 14.
Like, wait a second. She should be older, because she is older.
I think we not to undermine anyone here, but while Adrian was gone, he did a little fact checking, and we have confirmation. This is grade 12, Adrian?
Yeah, they're senior. They're American seniors. This being a Canadian show.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So they're in their last year of high school.
Oh,
okay, so in the US they'd be about 17 or 18 years old, right?
Yeah. Same age.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like some fancy private school, I guess.
Or special.
Yeah,
they did say it was some sort of academy.
Yeah.
Blackwell Academy.
Blackwell Academy, that's right,
Yeah.
in Arcadia Bay. Okay, well, that's still, 18 years old, that's an adult. I thought they were 14. I thought they were like kids, so that's very different. But
hella tight, yo.
What?
Do you guys like the slang and stuff in it?
Oh yeah, it's on point, I think.
It's on point.
You mean on fleek, I think.
I was going to say.
I keep hearing that's a thing now.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're so old.
We feel, yeah, totally.
Okay, Adrian, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience with episode 3?
I didn't. I didn't. It was my least favorite of the episodes. The quests were. I mean, not quests such as they are. The puzzles were just fetchy, you know. And I had a lot of trouble identifying where the pictures were in episode 3. I think I got the fewest of them out of those ones.
Yeah.
Some of them actually required you to solve puzzles in order to get the pictures.
Oh, sure. Sure. And that's the thing, is that like with this kind of story, like I would rather it have been rather than it being a 16-hour game, I would rather it have been an 8-hour or even a 6-hour kind of like Gone Homey.
Yes.
Like a little bit more
totally.
moving forward on the story, like just quicker paced and less bogged down in, you got to move the chair so you can stand on it so you don't break the.
I agree with you. It totally seemed unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that there's some kind of like huge payoff that the rewind thing needs at the end, or that the story needs the rewind for at the end. So we kind of have to have it embedded throughout the game. But just I don't know. It didn't strike the right chord with me. I think that this would have been better as a straight game, because there's so much going on narratively. It's so dramatically tense already that it, like, the rest of the stuff just seems kind of like window dressing.
Yeah, I'm with you a little bit. You mentioned Gone Home, which is interesting because this is very much feels like a gamified Gone Home, at least to me. Has anyone else here played it?
No.
Not yet. Nope. It's something that's on my to play list at some point.
Oh, just do it, man. 3 hours in and out, so good.
Yeah, definitely.
Phrasing.
Okay, so the elephant in the room.
Okay.
Episode 3. How do we approach this? We've got to lead up to it in a proper way.
Okay, I got this.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. So it was crazy when you're sitting on your bed looking at that photo and you start hearing.
Okay, wait, what photo? Give me some background.
The photo of Chloe. Is it Chloe and you?
Yeah.
Chloe and Max, yeah.
Yeah. And you can hear them talking like you're hearing the past.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow everything just like
wait,
vibrates.
You don't know it's the past yet. You're just hearing them talking in
but
the
it
photo.
sounds like the past is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like when I listened to it, I was like, oh, is that from the photo?
Right.
I wasn't like, oh, is that down the hall?
Yeah.
Actually, that's what I thought.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was down the hall.
It sounded like girls giggling.
Yeah, it sounded like little.
Yeah, the hall. And then when the image started blurring, I thought there was a texture problem.
Awesome.
Yeah, that happened a few times, I think, in the cutscene. I was like, okay.
I was like, oh, this has got to be the photo. I was like, it's like two little girls giggling with each other, right? So and then all of a sudden, everything just sort of like vibrates, and you're in the past as young Max.
It took me a minute to realize I was in the past as young Max.
Yeah, and you're with Chloe and her dad.
Yeah. So there's some serious time rewinding going on here.
Yeah.
Was everyone else as freaked out as I was when that happened?
Not really. I just started thinking about the movie The Butterfly Effect.
Dude, totally.
Me too, actually.
Yeah, so did I.
And I wanted to watch it on Netflix, and I couldn't find it.
I was like, oh god, anything that we do here is going to change everything significantly. I was like, don't touch anything. And then you couldn't not.
No.
Yeah, kind of like at the start of the game with that first conflict. You didn't have a choice. You had to save.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, you had to do what the game wanted you to do.
Yeah. Well, because like if you've watched enough time travel movies and like things like that, you know that you don't mess with the stuff in the past. So I was like, I ain't touching anything. And then it was like, oh, you need to rewind. I was like,
Man, rewinding in the past, rewinding after.
That was weird.
Well, he like hide his keys and then he's like beeping for them and like, oh man.
Did you unplug the phone?
No.
No.
You can unplug the phone. When you do that, then what's her name calls his cell phone instead.
Oh wow.
You can look through the notebook and like try to call her and tell her not to call him, but then she's like left already. There's all these things that you can do.
Oh yeah.
But it's like it all leads down to the same road except for that one solution.
I just threw the car keys out the window.
Hideo Kojima's life is strange.
Oh, you can throw it out the window?
Yeah.
Yeah, I threw them out the door.
Oh, I just threw them in the sink.
Yeah, I put them in the sink too.
I put him in the sink first try. I had no idea there was any other options. Rosalind walks into the room and she's like, it took me forever to figure that out. And I just totally fluked. So for me, there wasn't that build up to it because I just felt like, I kind of winged.
No, I hid them in like a cup holder on the desk or something like that.
I hid them in behind a picture.
A box of cookies, cereal box.
Wow, you could hide them anywhere.
Wow, I didn't know that. Wow.
Did anybody leave a butterfly next to the fireplace?
Yes.
Sure did.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Because that made me... I was looking around in some rooms, and I think in the girls' bathroom and also in Chloe's bedroom, there is a bit of graffiti that there's a dot and an arrow that says hole to another universe.
I've seen that graffiti.
And I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know what that is, if that's significant or just an Easter egg or something, but...
Interesting.
That's what I thought of when I made that graffiti. And then I put down a butterfly and some more butterfly effect.
Huh, I didn't see that. Interesting.
It just said draw graffiti, so I was like, okay.
Done.
Yes. I will do that.
The butterfly theme keeps reoccurring because that's how Chloe realized you were in the bathroom with her the first time too, wasn't it? She saw the butterfly picture you took and then she goes, oh my God, you were there.
Yeah.
And that's how she identified me.
And I'm not sure how she would... That doesn't quite add up, though.
No, who notices a butterfly?
Yeah, she was like around the corner and stuff.
Right? Yeah, it was very weird.
How do you see that bucket when you like run out because you just almost got shot?
A gun pulled on you, exactly.
Plot hole.
Oh, I totally remember that butterfly in the corner.
That I could see, like...
No, I don't think she actually recognized the butterfly. I think she just simply recognized the bathroom, like the setting, the floor, the bucket, and everything around it and stuff.
But then how would she know you were there at that moment? Because it was that she was so specific about.
Oh yeah, that's true. Plot hole.
And it looked like the actual picture was just framed, like you can see the sealed bucket and the blue butterfly on it, but I don't think you can really see.
Oh, that was the girls' bathroom on October or something.
Right? Too bizarre.
Maybe she saw the No, because the butterfly came in and landed on the bucket before they came in.
Yeah.
They checked the JPEG XF data. That's what they did.
On a Polaroid.
I love it. Okay, so we hide the keys. He's not able to.
And then we come up.
Die.
Yeah, and then we come up with the brilliant idea that he should take the bus.
Yeah.
Save the environment.
Take the bus. Do the Bay a favor. But this all leads to, and I think it's the same for everybody.
Oh, wait though.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did anyone take a picture of in the past?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. I took was it 2? Yeah, you can take 2 pictures in the past.
Because I missed that completely and I'm like so upset about it.
I did.
Oh, you can replay the chapters in collection mode and just to take pictures of certain spots.
Oh, really?
Weird.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I don't want to do that yet. Maybe I'll do that at the end.
Yeah, you can do that later.
After everything.
But I was like, oh, I feel like this could have really held something because I remember in I think it was episode 2, and I didn't take in episode 1, I didn't take a picture of Kate with the security guard, and then I couldn't.
Oh yeah,
show
those
it
are
to Mr.
story-driven
Jefferson.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are story-driven ones, and they're key moments. But the ones like that were in the past, those are just for collection.
Oh, thank goodness! I was like,
There you
what
go.
is going to happen to me? My choices. But yeah, continue.
Well, okay, so we get to the climactic moment, and I'm pretty sure I know you all fairly well. You're intelligent people. We all saw this coming. Somebody else was gonna get this final destination effect. Like, you cannot stop fate. Someone's gonna be messed up, and down the hall comes Chloe in her wheelchair, a paraplegic or a quadriplegic, right? And your jaw sort of hits the floor, but we all saw it coming, right? We just didn't realize in what form.
Yeah, the last picture of when all the memories are fading and new ones are appearing. The last picture is of her with car keys. She's getting car keys for her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
Oh, nice.
Right, with a nice truck.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
That's like Back to the Future.
totally right. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
It was upsetting to see her like that, though. They didn't pull any punches. Like she was in a tough spot. So wow, so quite a way to end episode 3. Does anyone have any predictions as to what episode 4 or 5 have for us now that
I really wonder if the game will give you the option to go back and change
change it again.
Well, you spend all of episode 3 really developing a relationship with Chloe.
you do.
Right? And then now you're going, okay, well, what's better? Chloe has her dad back, or Chloe is
in a wheelchair.
In a wheelchair, yeah.
Man, tough choices.
I have a feeling that since Chloe seems like such an important character to the story, that you will be able to go back in time and basically revert everything,
and
so that it can carry on.
And then I'm really sure that in the top left, in white, the game will be telling you there will be consequences.
Absolutely. So, okay, guys, we are gonna wrap it up right there. That is literally the end of episode
Oh wait,
3.
I have one question.
Okay.
You know that part where Frank is eating his spaghetti in the diner?
Yes.
Did you guys try to mess with him?
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I was eating that.
That felt very satisfying. Being able to rewind time from that was so cool.
Pour my drink or his drink all over.
Yes, I did both.
All this stuff all over him, and then he, like, falls and like gets up and like tries to go for you, and then the screen goes gray, and it's like, you're gonna have to do better than that.
I would have loved to see it play out and see the cop get up and, like, do his thing.
Right?
That would have
Just
been
smack
great.
him over the head with
Yeah,
like,
that would have been a
thing.
way to take the keys. Sure, why not? Right?
Well, yeah, that's right. It immediately goes to gray, and there is a cop there. There is somebody that could intervene or whatever on your behalf, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't happen. So I don't know. Maybe you get punched out and die before the cop can step in. I don't know.
Whatever. We took the gun back, so I'm like, he's not a threat anymore.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I left the gun.
Really?
Yeah. I decided that Chloe's irresponsible and that gun should not be in her hands.
No way, I'm Team Chloe.
And I figured that the gun was left there. I'm hoping that he won't take the gun with him anywhere and just leave it there, and that would be the end of that. But
was it in the RV then?
Yes.
Yeah, it was in the RV. It was hidden in one of the cupboards or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So there is a possibility you didn't find it anyway. So
yeah, no, I kept it, so I wouldn't have seen it.
I also have just one last thing. Like I mentioned earlier, that there is one choice that seemed like there was a wrong choice and a right choice, and that was to do with the dog.
Yes.
You choose to kill the dog by throwing the bone into traffic, or not.
Does the dog actually die?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh dear.
And
yeah.
So I picked that as the first option because I figured as a second option, you throw it in the parking lot. The dog's can come back and bite you or something.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I was like, no, I can't kill a dog.
Good. Yeah, no, that would be horrible.
But it's weird because I was willing to, I was willing to shoot Frank, but I wasn't willing to kill a dog.
Okay, so
because the dog did nothing wrong.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's your final thought, Adrian?
Well, it's just been greenlit for live action adaptation. So they're gonna make it into a mini series. Apparently, it's for streaming services of some kind. They haven't announced the details or whatever. But my question to all y'all is: in the live action adaptation, who do you think should play Max?
Oh man, jeez.
Ooh. Is that like a final question that we get to ponder and then come back to?
Can we answer it next time?
Oh yeah,
Sure.
I got to do some research. I want to do that. Let's do that. Because I got a couple of people in mind, but I'm going to say the wrong name. I'm going to say like Dennis Hopper when I mean a young female actress or something. Give me a little while.
Dame Judi
Hollywood
Dench.
names down. That's right.
Oh, man.
Good question though.
This will be, yeah.
I'll be honest with you though. I honestly don't really care who plays who, as long as they're just good. That's all. Yeah.
They have to have the right personality or be able to portray the right personality.
Speaking of which, what did you guys think of Max's personality?
I found it a little bland, to be honest, but I guess she has to you're taking on her role, so she can't be too loud.
Yeah.
I found she was just a little understated for my personality tastes.
I did notice at the start of the game, the shirt she's wearing says Jane, and it's got a picture of Doe. Jane Doe.
Clever.
Oh. Well, that certainly clarifies it.
I felt she was a bit inconsistent. Like sometimes she's very like she's supposed to be really weird and quiet and nerdy and stuff, and then sometimes one of your choices that you can do is something quite like very outrageous or something like that. And
Yeah.
I just thought, it's kind of hard to pin down her personality because of all the options that you have.
I think that's there for basically for your individuality to express and play out.
Yeah, as the player of the game.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Alissa, everybody got to have a final thought, I think. Did you have one?
No, I'm looking forward to talking about the next 2 chapters.
Awesome. Well, now we get to play it, right? Because everyone's been holding back now.
I'm like totally just ready to get into it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up, guys. This is episode 3 of The Backlog and the first episode of Life is Strange. So in a couple weeks, look forward to episode 4, where we play the last 2 chapters and do our wrap-up on this game that's been a real surprise and a ton of fun. So thanks, everybody, for joining me, and you've all got a chance to say goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Goodbye.
See ya.
Adrian's your winding time, I think.
I said